My girlfriend thinks I slept with her sister. I was drunk, and I'm not even sure if I did or didn't. Before we begin, I ask you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to help me grow here on YouTube. I'm counting on you. These past few weeks, I've been staying at my girlfriend's house. She lives in the same house as her family, but her parents own another house, which they usually live in another city, and that's where they are now. So it's just her and her little sister there. Because I like to spend the nights with my girlfriend, I spent most nights at her house in her bedroom, and switch between that and my apartment. We like being together, and my apartment is small and dingy, so that's why it's usually at her place. We kinda had a fight a couple of weeks ago. She went out to a party with her friends and said she wouldn't be that long. I stayed up all night waiting for her, but she didn't come back till next morning. Of course I was really upset, and I shouldn't have assumed the worst, but I did, and we got into a fight. The same thing happened last night. She promised this time she'd just be a few hours. I know the parties she goes to have boys and girls. There. I stayed up all night watching shit on TV, waiting for her. I started drinking. One glass of whiskey after another, just out of boredom, waiting for her to come back. My mind was circling around thinking where she could be, why she could be taking so long. I feared she'd not come back till the next morning. Now this part is really fuzzy because I was drunk as fuck by this point, and I could barely walk. I decided to call it quits, and I staggered up to her bedroom to go to sleep. I usually sleep in my underwear, so I got down to my underwear, and I was surprised to find she was in bed, or at least I thought it was her. Normally, I would have questioned what was going on, but in my drunken state, I must have just assumed she got back early and went to bed without me realizing. I remember muttering to her, "I'm sorry I got so mad at you, honey," and kissing her neck, and then cuddling her and going to sleep. I have no idea if anything else happened. I don't know if sex happened. I wish I could say it didn't, but I have no memory of the event. The next morning I had a painful as fuck headache. I remember waking up to my girlfriend's screams as she walked into the room in the morning. What the fuck is going on? I was still dreary and unaware of my surroundings. As I came to, I realized I was lying in bed with her sister. We were both in our underwear cuddling, and her sister was facing me directly. Obviously it looked bad. My girlfriend was raging. I tried to explain, but the scene itself was incriminating enough. She told me to get out of the house, and she kicked her sister out as well. I have no idea where she went. I was in such an awful state, and my headache was so bad, I barely had any idea what was going on. Painfully, I went back to my home where I've been all day. I've been trying to call my girlfriend. I have not been able to reach her. She's not been responding to any calls. I tried to call her sister once as well to find out what the fuck happened, but no response. I honestly have no idea what happened. Did I cheat? Did I have sex with her? How does that even happen? I know for certain I kissed her neck, but I thought it was her. I didn't know it was her sister. Why the hell would she be in her bed? Why didn't she say or do anything? Why was she cuddling me in the morning? What can I do? How can I find out what happened, or at least convince my girlfriend that I didn't cheat, even though I don't even know if I did or didn't? Okay. It took me almost a week to gather enough energy to write an update. Honestly, I wasn't even going to do it. I didn't see the point. Things have been miserable, and my life has been falling apart. But I'm slowly trying to pick up the pieces. A warning to everyone reading this. This story involves a very difficult and serious situation. I am slowly accepting and coming to terms with the fact that I was put in a situation where I had no control. I tried writing this before, but it came out too confusing, so I'm re-editing it now. To avoid confusion, I'll refer to the people involved as girlfriend and girlfriend's sister. When I made my last post, I had lost all contact with my girlfriend, and she wasn't answering my calls. Eventually, I managed to get in touch with girlfriend's sister. She was very upset and told me that her sister, girlfriend, had kicked her out of the house, was threatening her, and wouldn't even speak to her. I talked to girlfriend's sister and told her that she had to tell me exactly what happened, that it was very important because my girlfriend was in danger. She was extremely upset, acting impulsively, and could end up hurting herself. Girlfriend's sister told me she would tell me the whole story, but she made me swear that I wouldn't. Tell girlfriend. I lied and said yes. From what she told me, it seems like she intentionally took advantage of the situation, knew I was drunk, knew I thought she was my girlfriend, and used that as an opportunity to be with me. Apparently, we did have sex. After she told me that, some vague memories started to resurface, and now I barely remember that something happened. The worst part is that she said we didn't use protection, and that she was scared of a possible pregnancy. She later took a test, and she wasn't pregnant. Eventually, I managed to get through to my girlfriend. I told her the entire story, just as I've written it here, and as I mentioned in my last post, but with more details, of course. I told her everything that girlfriend's sister had told me. My girlfriend was horrified by what had happened and completely shocked, but she believed me and was deeply apologetic for accusing me of cheating. She told me that what happened was something very serious and not something I could just brush off. I told her that I didn't feel traumatized or anything, but I agreed that what happened was wrong. My girlfriend became even more furious with her sister for what she had done. She kicked her out of the house, and since then, she has never come back. My girlfriend swore that she would never speak to her again, and from the way she reacted, it sounds like she really means it. They haven't spoken since then. We've talked about what happened extensively, and I won't go into all the details here, but my girlfriend has been extremely supportive of me because I was put in a situation where I had no control. She suggested that I seek professional help or counseling, but I insisted that I don't need it. This whole situation has been extremely strange and disturbing. It feels weird to realize that I went through something like this. I don't feel different. I don't feel emotionally affected, but I still know that this happened, that someone took control of me without my awareness or choice. It's a very strange feeling. It took me almost a week to gather the energy to write an update. Honestly, I wasn't even going to. I didn't see the point. Everything has been miserable, and my life has been falling apart, but I'm slowly trying to piece things back together. For 2 months, I didn't hear anything from my girlfriend's sister. My girlfriend never spoke to her again, and although she initially supported me, our relationship was never the same. There was something between us now, an invisible weight, that neither of us could ignore. She wanted to be there for me, but I could tell that part of her was broken. I tried to focus on work, my routine, anything that would make me feel normal again, but deep down, that feeling of powerlessness never truly went away. Then, out of nowhere, I got a message from my girlfriend. After weeks of barely speaking, she suddenly wanted to talk, but not just with me. She wanted both me and her sister to meet her in person. My entire body tensed up as I read the message. "I need to talk to you both. It's important." I didn't want to go. The mere thought of seeing her sister again made my stomach turn. But my girlfriend insisted, saying it was serious and that it concerned me as well. Reluctantly, I agreed. We met at a quiet cafe, away from anywhere we might be recognized. When I arrived, my girlfriend was already there, sitting at a table in the back, nervously scrolling through her phone. Her sister hadn't arrived yet. I sat down without saying a word. I wanted to ask what this was all about, but I could already tell from her expression that something was very, very wrong. A few minutes later, her sister walked in. She hesitated at the entrance, as if she knew she wasn't welcome. I refused to look directly at her, but I could feel the tension in the air the moment she sat down. My girlfriend let out a long, tired sigh before finally speaking. 2 months ago, after everything that happened, I took a pregnancy test. The world around me seemed to stop. I felt my heart pounding in my chest as I processed what she had just said. She looked me straight in the eye, carefully watching my reaction. It came back positive. My mind went blank. My vision blurred. She was pregnant. My girlfriend was pregnant. But that didn't make sense. I knew for a fact that we hadn't been together since before the incident. And then it hit me. I slowly turned my head toward her sister, and the look on her face confirmed my worst fear. "The baby is yours." My girlfriend's voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of 1,000 bricks crashing down on me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I could barely even speak. This can't be real. How do you even know for sure? Her sister kept her head down. My girlfriend let out another heavy sigh. She took a test. "The timeline matches. You know it could be yours." I felt like throwing up. My body was shaking. "So why am I here?" My voice was sharp, bitter. "What do you want from me?" She hesitated for a moment, like she was searching for the right words. "I'm not here to force you into anything. But this child, this baby, needs a father." I laughed. Not out of humor. Out of sheer disbelief. "You actually expect me to accept this? To just go along with this and act like this is normal?" My girlfriend bit her lip, and I could see the pain in her eyes. She was just as shattered as I was, just in a different way. I don't know what I expect. I just know that this is happening, and that I can't do this alone. Her sister still hadn't said a single word. I clenched my fists, trying to contain the fury rising inside me. You want child support, don't you? That's what this is about. You're asking me to be financially responsible for something that I didn't choose, that I didn't agree to, that I don't even fully remember. My girlfriend looked at me, and I saw the truth in her eyes. Yes, that's what I'm asking. I laughed again, but this time there was nothing behind it. No emotion, no feeling, just emptiness. Do you even hear how insane this sounds? Do you realize that I was put into this situation without a choice? I never wanted this. I never asked for this. And now you're dropping this on me like it's my responsibility? She didn't answer right away. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. I don't know what else to do. I just know that this is real, and that I can't handle it on my own. I pushed my chair back and stood up, my entire body trembling. I need time to think. She nodded, but I could see the tears welling up in her eyes. I turned away and walked out of the cafe without looking back, without caring what her sister had to say. I needed to breathe. I needed to think. But one thing was certain. My life would never be the same again. I couldn't sleep. Since that damned conversation at the cafe, my mind hadn't stopped. The way my girlfriend looked at me, how she tried to convince me that this was inevitable, that I had to take responsibility, as if I had a choice, as if I was supposed to just accept this, as if I had to pay for something I never wanted, never chose, as if I had to live with it. I spent the next few days trying to find a way out of this nightmare. I spoke to a lawyer, but he was blunt. If the child is yours, you'll be legally required to pay child support. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. The injustice of it all consumed me. My life was ruined over something I wasn't even sure really happened. And now, on top of it all, I had to give up my money every month to support a child. That came from a night I never consented to? Then the worst happened. A legal notice arrived. She was suing me for child support. She had the audacity to take me to court. My vision blurred with rage. I threw the papers onto the table and ran a hand down my face, trying to calm myself. But it was useless. I punched the wall hard, breathing heavily. Almost immediately, my girlfriend texted me, as if she could sense something was wrong. What happened? I sent her a picture of the documents. Minutes later, my doorbell rang. She walked in without saying a word, grabbed the papers, and read them in silence. Her face turned red with fury. She didn't. She did. She's suing you for child support? After everything? After what she did? She nearly yelled. Yes. She ran a hand through her hair, pacing back and forth, fuming. This is insane. This should have never gone this far. But it did. I sank onto the couch, exhausted. I had never felt so defeated in my life. She sat next to me, eyes burning with anger. We need to do something. You can't let her get away with this. I let out a bitter laugh. And what am I supposed to do? What can I do? I don't even have proof of what happened. It's my word against hers. She went silent. Then, suddenly, her expression changed. She frowned, as if remembering something. Wait. I looked at her, confused. What? She stood up abruptly, grabbed her phone and started scrolling frantically. Do you remember that conversation we had at the cafe? The day she admitted everything? My heart started racing. Yeah, why? She looked at me, her eyes filled with determination. I recorded it. I froze. What? I recorded it. I wanted to have it on record. I wanted to be able to hear it again if I needed to. And now it could be our proof. My mind was spinning. I shot up from the couch. You have that recording? She nodded, pressing her phone screen. Then, the conversation played. Her sister's voice filled the room. Yes. I knew he was drunk. I knew he thought I was you. I knew exactly what I was doing. The rage that surged through my body was unlike anything I had ever felt before. I had to close my eyes and take a deep breath to stop myself from exploding right then and there. This was everything I needed. I wasn't just going to fight back against the child support case. I was going to sue her. My girlfriend and I spent hours talking with the lawyer. At first, he was shocked, but after hearing the recording, he confirmed. This is undeniable evidence. We can file a case against her for abuse, and if we win, she might even lose the right to demand child support. The feeling was indescribable. For the first time, I felt like I could fight back, and that's exactly what we did. The next day, I filed a lawsuit against her. Now the real battle had just begun. The trial was long and exhausting. Every passing day felt like I was reliving the nightmare over and over again. My life had been destroyed by a choice that was never mine, and now I was being forced to fight to prove something that should have never happened in the first place. But unlike before, this time, I had proof. The recording my girlfriend made was the key to the case. The defense tried to argue that it was taken out of context, that her sister didn't mean what she said, that she was exaggerating, or that I was twisting the meaning. But none of it stuck. When the audio played in court, the room went completely silent. Yes, I knew he was drunk. I knew he thought I was you. I knew exactly what I was doing. Her own words, clear, undeniable. Her lawyer desperately tried to downplay it, but there was nothing he could do. That recording was irrefutable. I looked at her in that moment, sitting there, hunched over, avoiding everyone's eyes. For the first time, she looked small, weak, afraid. But I felt no sympathy. She tried to destroy my life. She put me through months of hell, made me question my own sanity, trapped me in a situation where I almost accepted paying for a child I wasn't even sure was mine. She deserved every consequence that was coming to her. The judge didn't hesitate. Guilty. The verdict came down like a weight I hadn't realized I was carrying until that moment. Guilty. She was convicted. Nothing would erase what had happened, but she wasn't walking away from this unpunished. She cried when she heard the decision. Maybe it was remorse. Maybe it was fear of what was coming for her. I don't know. I didn't care to know. I just wanted it to be over. But the nightmare wasn't finished yet. The child was born shortly after. Despite everything, there was still the looming question of paternity. That uncertainty was still hanging over me, and I needed to put an end to it once and for all. So, I took a DNA test. And when the results came in, reality finally settled. The child wasn't mine. For a moment, I didn't know what to feel. Anger, relief, sadness for what I had lost, for what I had been put through, maybe all of it at once. My girlfriend was next to me when I opened the envelope. She looked at the papers with me, and for a few seconds neither of us said anything. Then, finally, she broke the silence. You never should have had to go through this. I took a deep breath. But I did. I thought about everything that had happened. Every night I spent blaming myself, trying to piece together what had happened that night. Every time I woke up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, wondering if there was any way I could have prevented it. But the thought that hit me the hardest was this. If I hadn't taken the test, I would have paid child support for years. If I had simply accepted everything that had been forced on me, if I had believed that I had to take responsibility, I would have been deceived. I would have given my money to support a child that was never mine. That realization hit me like a punch to the gut. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, opened the cabinet, and looked at the whiskey bottle that had been sitting there since that night. The same drink that made me vulnerable. The same drink that destroyed my life. The same drink that put me in that nightmare. I grabbed the bottle and, without hesitation, went to the sink and poured every last drop down the drain. Never again. I was never drinking again. I was never putting myself in that position again. I was never letting anyone take my control, my choices, away from me again. I finished emptying the bottle, threw it away, and walked back into the living room. My girlfriend was still there, watching me. Are you okay? I thought for a second, and for the first time in months I knew the answer. Yeah, now I am. Time passed. More than I ever thought it would. At first it felt impossible to move on. Like that story had latched on to me. Like I would never be able to live without being defined by everything that had happened. But I did. We did. My girlfriend stood by my side through it all. After everything, the trial, the scandal, the humiliation, she didn't leave. She saw the pain I carried and chose to stay, chose to fight with me. Slowly, we rebuilt what we had, even though deep down, we both knew we would never be the same again. Her sister vanished after the conviction. No one really knew where she had gone. She disappeared without a trace, maybe running from the shame, maybe trying to escape the consequences. But the problem was that in the end, she still had a child to raise. Even though the baby wasn't mine, he still existed. And while I had no connection to him, I knew he deserved better than to be raised by someone like her. The stories started small at first. Neighbors saying the baby cried all the time, that she would leave for hours and not come back. Then, things got worse. Neglect, carelessness. People had seen her screaming at the child, treating him like nothing more than a burden, until one day, someone reported her. When social services showed up at her place, they found exactly what had been suspected. All along, a filthy home, spoiled food, piles of dirty diapers, a baby left in a crib while his mother was who knows where. The process was swift. The investigation confirmed that she wasn't fit to be a parent. And then, the final decision came. She lost custody of her own child. I found out in an unexpected way. My girlfriend sent me a message while I was at work. Just a simple, she lost custody. In that moment, I didn't know what to feel. I didn't feel sorry for her in any way, but there was something deep down, something I couldn't quite place. Maybe it was karma finally catching up. Maybe it was just the inevitable fate of someone who never cared about anything but herself. Whatever it was, she had lost everything. After that, I never heard about her again. If she tried to appeal, if she fought for her son, I don't know. Maybe she just accepted her defeat and disappeared for good. What I do know is that the child was placed with a foster family, people who actually wanted him. And me? I kept living. After everything, time moved forward. Months turned into years. With each day, that nightmare felt further and further away. The scars remained, of course. Some things never fully fade. But little by little, the constant anger stopped controlling me. The need for revenge started to disappear. My girlfriend and I stayed together. After everything we had faced, we learned to rely on each other in a way most couples never do. She had seen me at my worst, and still chose to stay. I had seen her strength, and knew I never wanted to lose it. The trauma of that time still lingers, but it doesn't control me anymore. I've allowed myself to be happy again. And above all, I've learned the most important lesson of all. I will never let anyone take control of my life away from me again. There was a time when I thought I'd never escape this story, that no matter how many years passed, it would always be with me, haunting me, reminding me that my life had been destroyed without me being able to do anything about it. But time passed. I rebuilt myself, and yet sometimes without warning, that thought creeps back in. What if I hadn't had proof? What if my girlfriend hadn't recorded that conversation? What if the justice system hadn't been on my side? What if, instead of being freed from that nightmare, I had been forced to pay child support for a baby that was never mine? The only reason I got justice was because I got lucky, because a recording existed, because my girlfriend believed me and decided to fight alongside me. But how many stories like mine end differently? Worse yet, how many women go through something like this every single day and have no one to believe them? That's the part that enrages me, because I had a chance. But how many people, how many women are thrown into this same hell and have nowhere to turn? How many are forced to accept a fate they never chose? I think about all of this when I look back at what happened to each of us. My girlfriend and I stayed together. After everything, our relationship became stronger. But it wasn't easy. There were moments when we'd look at each other and know that shadow was still there, that it would never completely go away. But we chose not to let it define us. She was the one person who stood by me, who never doubted me, and that meant more than anything. Today, we live our lives without that constant weight. We don't talk about what happened anymore. Not because we forgot, but because we moved on. Not because we ignore it, but because we refuse to let it control our present. As for her sister, we never saw her again. After losing custody of the baby, she disappeared completely. Some say she tried to appeal the decision, but she failed. Others say she left town and started a new life somewhere far away, where no one knew her story. Honestly, I don't care. What matters is that she didn't get the happy ending she wanted. She tried to ruin my life, tried to force me to carry a burden that was never mine, tried to make me believe that I had to take responsibility for what happened. She tried, but she failed. And the baby? He was adopted. He's growing up in a family that truly loves him, that wanted him, that can give him a better life than he ever would have had with his biological mother. Maybe one day, he'll learn the truth. Maybe he won't. But in the end, what matters is that he didn't have to pay for her mistakes. I moved on, but I never forgot. And what haunts me the most isn't what happened to me. It's knowing how many times this has happened to others and no one did anything. It's thinking about all the women who went through what I went through and had no proof, who were dismissed, who were called liars, who were forced to live with what happened, with no one to help them. I got lucky. I got justice. But how many never do? That's what keeps me up at night. That's what I'll never forget. The system fails too many people. I made it out. But what about all the ones who never do?